What up, IDS Mob? It's your boy, HarryWilmington, back with another episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show. Happy New Year to you guys. This is my first show back, and it's the first show that I'm doing since I turned 40. Yes, my birthday was on January 7th. I just turned 40, and it's interesting being at this age now because I'm currently at the age where I know a whole lot. I still have more stuff I can always learn, of course, but now I'm at the age where I can actually legit give advice to guys and not only have it be listened to, but also have a lot of my own personal experience behind it. And when it comes to the dating stuff, obviously, I've been giving you guys advice for years for now, and so obviously that's not going to change. But it's interesting because over this past weekend, I had an experience that just really made me feel like solidified and really comfortable at where I'm at in terms of helping guys out with dating. And so today's show, we're talking about how to not get upset by trying to force your will upon her and her not wanting to do the thing. That's a long title that I'll probably shorten for the thumbnail. But I wanted to talk about that because this particular weekend over my birthday, I had an interesting experience. So I'll tell you what happened. Basically, for this weekend, I decided I wanted to go on a 4-day excursion to Big Bear out here in California and go to a ski trip. I'm from Virginia. I missed the snow, and I used to ski when I was a kid in Boy Scouts, and then later with my church a little bit. So I've gone about 4 or 5 times, but it's been almost like 20 years since I had gone skiing. So I took the lessons again, and once I finished the lessons and got my mojo back on the skis, I was able to go about and go skiing on the mountains. And so there was one time where I got on the ski lift, which is the little machine that takes you up to the top of the mountain so you can start skiing down. And I was solo on the ski lift. And so as I was in line, there was a guy behind me that was, he had a snowboard with him. And he said to me, "Hey, Harry, do you mind?" He doesn't know my name. He said, "Hey, do you mind do you have anybody with you on the ski lift?" And I said, "No, I don't." And so he said, "Well, can I ride with you?" And I said, "Sure." So we get on the ski lift, and now it's like a 5-minute ride to the top of the mountain because this was a particularly slow ski lift. So I'm looking at dude, and before we even got on the ski lift together, he's already asked me questions like, "Hey, so how long you been out here for? And what are you out here for and celebrating for or whatever?" And I was like, okay, he's going to clearly be a talker. He doesn't know I'm an introvert, so I'm not going to do the introvert thing of like acting like he's not sitting next to me on the ski lift. I'm going to talk to this guy. So we're on the ski lift, and he's just kind of telling me about his trip up there. I'm telling him about my trip up there, and that was my birthday weekend or whatever. And then so I ask him, well, who's he here with? And the guy says, well, I'm actually here with my girlfriend. And so I know clearly since we're on the ski lift together, his girlfriend's not with him. So he points way over to like another part of the mountain and he says, oh, my girlfriend's right over there. And so I see his girlfriend and this other person who I think it's a guy, but they're just kind of like talking to each other wherever in the snow. And he's up here with me. So he says, "Yeah, that's my girlfriend over there. You know, I'm not jealous at all. I'm not really jealous. You know, that kind of person." I was like, I didn't ask him if he was jealous, but clearly since he brought it up, that means he's feeling some kind of way. But anyway, so we get to talking, and then he mentions to me that him and his girl had been in a little bit of a fight. Like there had been a little bit of tension that weekend. And he was saying to me, you know, I really love her and I care for her and she's my world and I want to marry her someday. But with that said, there's definitely been some tension happening. And so I was like, okay, well, at this point, I got my giving dating advice hat on. So I'm like, okay, well, what's the situation? And so what he tells me is that, first of all, he's 21. So this is his 21 birthday that he's up here for. And he's saying that his girlfriend, he wants to get to help her become comfortable with snowboarding because he's very comfortable with it. And so he tells me, he says, well, you know, right now, you know, her family, she comes from a family of skiers. Like they've had Olympic skiers in their family. They do it like almost every single winter. She's been skiing since she was like a little girl. And I said, okay, so then what's the problem? And he said, well, I want her to learn how to snowboard. And so I've been trying to get her snowboarding lessons and I really wanted to, you know, do it so we can do it together. And she's just not having it. She doesn't want to do it. She's not very comfortable. She's afraid she's going to fall, whatever. And so there's been some kind of, you know, a little bit of tension about that. So I feel for the guy because, obviously as a guy, you know that if you're doing stuff with your girl, you want her to be able to do all the stuff with you. So her interests become your interest, and you're hoping that your interests also become her interest in everything you do, okay? Which is, especially as a young guy, that's the stance that oftentimes gets taken is like, we got to do everything together or else there's going to be problems. You may start to feel like if you're not doing everything together that she's starting to pull away or that she doesn't care for you as much anymore. And we take it very personally, even if there are things that we really shouldn't be taking all that personal. So anyway, this guy tells me this stuff, and I've been there. I've been in situations where I wanted the person I'm with to be able to do the thing I want to do. And in my 20s, if they weren't able to, I'd be annoyed by it or I'd be frustrated. And that's not really how that works for me today. But I'll get to that in a minute. So I just kind of turned to the guy and I'm like, hey, so, you want some advice? Like, I'm thinking like I'm 40 years old. I feel like the old sage now, like, let me tell you, wise one, what you should be thinking and doing. So he's like, yeah, sure. What do you want? What do you have to tell me? So what I told him is that the worst thing you can do when a person expresses to you that they're not interested in doing a thing or trying a thing is to try to force them to do it. Now, you can gently try to persuade. You can say, hey, baby, sure you don't want to because I think it would be really, really fun. And, maybe it might not be as hard as it is if you just give it a try out. If you do that, and the woman's still like, you know what, I'm just really not feeling it. I just kind of want to, do the skiing thing, or I want to do my own thing this thing, or I don't want to do the thing that you're mentioning. Your next response should always be, okay, well, if you change your mind, I'd love to do it with you. But if not, that's totally cool. But just either way, I just want you to know that the invitation's out there. Now, that's all you can do. Now, here's why this guy was upset, is because he was trying to force upon her something she didn't want to do. But what, in her eyes, was he actually doing? What he was actually doing was saying, hey, I hear that you don't want to do this thing, and I don't care what your needs are. I need you to fulfill my needs and do the things that I want you to do, or else I'm going to be upset with you and throw a hissy fit. And he's thinking that he's just trying to get it so they can spend more time together, okay? Now, in the span of a relationship, if you've ever been in a relationship, there's going to probably be about 80% of things that you and her are going to want to do together, and you're going to have very similar likes in a lot of this 80%, okay? But there's going to be that 20% where you're going to probably want to do something that she's never tried before, she's never possibly heard of, and more importantly, when she hears it, she says she doesn't want to try it, doesn't want to do it, has no interest. And how do you respond to that? And if you try to go the way of this guy, where he's trying to cajole and force and talk to her and be mad at her and throw a fit, well, you might potentially get your way in that moment, but it's going to have long-term rippling effects on the relationship. Now, if I were this guy, let's say I'm going out skiing and I have somebody with me and they're like, I say, hey, I'm going to go skiing on this mountain and you should try it with me. We should take lessons. It's going to be fun. And if their response is, well, I'm not sure about that, I don't want to do that, or we start, doing a few of the lessons and the person's like, I'm just not really feeling it. I'm sorry. I just don't want to hurt your feelings, but I don't want to do this thing anymore. My response these days is basically, hey, no problem. As long as I get to still do the thing that we were both trying to do and the other person's not going to get mad at me, then I'm fine. Because then what happens is the woman you're with feels respected because you're not trying to force her to get out of her comfort zone too early about something she doesn't want to do. And you get to still be happy because the person you're with, if they have a good head on their shoulders and they're not that kind of person that's like, if I don't do the activity, then you can't do it either. And she actually go ahead and continue to do the thing, then you get to be happy because A, you get to still do the thing you wanted to do, and more importantly, B, you get alone time doing it, which as an introvert, you want anyway. And I think the fear that a lot of introverts have is that they think that if they try to express that they want to do an activity or go someplace by themselves or do the activity by themselves alone, that the woman they're with is going to get mad. But a lot of times, there are women out there that are doing activities with you that they don't want to do, but they're thinking they have to do it because in previous relationships, if they tried to get away from the person or say, I don't want to do the thing, that the person they're with would get mad and throw a hissy fit. So then they get with you thinking, I don't want to upset this guy because I really do like him. So I just won't ever say at any time that I don't want to do anything with him ever. But you could be causing her to build resentment. And this is why it's good early on to tell women, hey, I'm an introvert, just like I need my alone time. I understand you need your alone time too. So if it's something that you need to do alone, go ahead and do it. If I'm doing an activity and you don't want to do it and you think that you're going to hurt my feelings, I can assure you as an introvert, it's not going to happen. And if you're an introvert, if you're a person that's not an introvert that's watching this, that should be the same thing. Whether you're extroverted, ambiverted, whatever. If the woman says to you on occasion, hey babe, I don't want to try this thing. I'm afraid of heights. I don't want to do this roller coaster. Or I don't want to go out into the water and swim with sharks like you do. The response should always be, hey babe, are you sure? Because it might be fun. If they say, no, I'm really sure, at that point you say, okay babe, well I'm going to go ahead and do the thing, but I understand if you don't want to take part, that's fine. If you change your mind, then I'll be ready for you to come back and try this thing out. And what I found is this, is that more often than not, when you tell a woman that, when you don't force her to do the thing you want to do, when you say to her she has the free will to actually step away from doing the thing that you suggested, I find more times than not, like 4 out of 5 times, what'll usually happen is the woman will be appreciative. She'll step back for a minute. She'll think about it. And then she'll say, you know what, babe? I'll go ahead and give it a try. I'll at least give it a try. But hey, if I try it and I don't like it, then I'm going to step away, but I'll go ahead and try the thing. Okay? So you're going to find that the best way for you to get your way, funny enough, is to be listening to her when she says she doesn't want to do the thing, accept it, leave the invite open for her to come back, and then go ahead and do the thing. Okay? And a lot of times a woman might just need to see you out doing the thing to be able to see that there's enough experience that you have there to trust you that if anything happens to her in the course of trying this new thing, you'll be able to be the one to actually help her out of it, okay? So sometimes women just need that. But yeah, that's what I told this guy is that, hey, you know what? I find, the snowboarding thing, your response basically should be, look, if you don't want to snowboard, that's totally fine. If you decide to, babe, I'd love to have you on, but you know what? That's cool. I totally understand. I'm going to go snowboarding and I'll come back later. We can do some other stuff together. Now that would have gotten a better response from her than them having tension. And so this guy was just looking at me just like, oh my God, dude, that's amazing. I never thought about that. And it made me realize, again, at the age of 40, I've gathered a lot of knowledge. I've had a lot of experience with women, and I've gotten to a point where now I'm looking at 20-year-old, 25, 30-year-old versions of myself out there that are still doing the wrong things that I used to do, that I've been able to get past because I had mentors of my own. I had people that I was going to read various things. The guy, Doc Love, who died in August last year, he was like a really big mentor in the dating for men, giving men advice about dating community for like 20, 22 years. And so, and there's so many other people out there that just gave me a bunch of knowledge that I was able to soak up and use and do trial and error and find my own thing. So don't ever think that dating and getting to know women is like a journey that you complete, okay? It's a never-ending journey of figuring out, discovering, experimenting, and learning how to best communicate with them. But it is so worth it if you're able to find the right person. And when that right person comes along, knowing how to communicate with them, knowing how to fight with them, knowing the ways that women best communicate so you can have a real dynamically good relationship with somebody and not chase them away. And also, you'll come to take things less personally. I think a lot of times with guys, we feel like if the woman's not doing the thing we want to do, we take it as a personal attack. It's rarely ever personal. Sometimes women are just uncomfortable about doing certain things or going certain places. And you know what? As men, we don't live in that world. We don't have to look out for as many dangers as they do. And we honestly are typically more willing to try death-defying things because we're just like, oh, well, we just trust it will be fine. And it's like no harm, no foul. Sometimes women need a little bit more time before they get to that level of wanting to try these new things. And you got to be willing to wait them out. You got to be willing to say, hey, babe, that's totally fine, and meet them where they're at. If you do that more, then the woman you're with will start to trust you more, and she'll start to be willing to go out on more of a limb with future things. But you can't start early on in your relationship trying to force her to do stuff she doesn't want to do. It just doesn't work, okay? So hopefully, guys, this helps you out. If you have a question or situation you'd like me to talk about on this show, you can write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Be sure to check this show out wherever podcasts or videos are seen, especially on YouTube, at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HarryWilmington. Now, I will say this is a new year, and I'm trying a few new things this year. For one, I currently have a video course up called Introvert Dating Success, and what I'm realizing is that some of the stuff that correlates with you guys best is more the stuff that I have in ebook form. So I'm turning that video course into an ebook. Right now I'm getting basically the videos transcribed, and then it's going to be edited and turned into a book. So that's going to be coming out probably sometime in February or March. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, you can get a free copy of my best-selling ebook for men, No Girls for You, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams, at the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com. You can get it for free simply by signing up for my video newsletter with your name and email address. You'll get instant access to it right away. You can also buy it at the website. I have it in ebook and audiobook form, and I got a bunch of other ebooks there as well as other programs that are designed to help you learn how to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. All right? Also, if you want to support the show, you can send me a cash app at $HarryWilmington. That's all I got for today, guys. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I will catch you all on the next show. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time, IDS Mob. Peace.